So picture it like this. You take a job like a water damage job or a fire damage job, all right? Now on that estimate, the insurance estimate that you're used to seeing drywall, right? If it's spelled out drywall, where they've acknowledged that there is a water spot on the ceiling, for example, it probably says something, you know, if they say that the drywall has to be replaced at all, because that's the thing, is a lot of times they just say, well, we just prime over it, you know, or just patch it, right? That doesn't work. We're going to get into more of that later when we get into the inspection part of the course. That doesn't work. But with drywall, what you might be used to seeing is the R&R drywall, right? So it's remove and replace drywall. Now, that's just standard drywall. And that doesn't work, because what we should be using, see, is it's wet drywall. So we should be using, it's a contaminated drywall. If it's fire damage and it's smoke involved and all of that, then it's contaminated. So we should not be going from the drywall category, okay? So I want to show you something. Let's look now, and let's look inside the Xactimate, and as you can see here, we've got multiple different categories. And the category for drywall is vast and extensive, and we have lots of items in drywall. And whenever you see that on an insurance company estimate, and it says R&R drywall, it's coming from this category out of the drywall category. But that's not the way that we should do it, okay? So instead, we should be removing wet drywall and bag for disposal. And where do we find that? Well, let's look here. See, over in this category, we can see the water mitigation category, okay? So this is everything for water mitigation, remediation, all in this category. Take it a step further, over here, we have hazardous materials category. And over in this category, we have a lot of the same items that are in the water mitigation, but it's no longer from the just basic, you know, to remove and replace drywall, or remove and replace baseboard, or remove and replace insulation. Instead, it's remove wet drywall, bag for disposal. And by the way, is it category 1 or is it category 3? Because let's look at that. Category 1, standard price, just taken from a random price list. And now let's look at category 3. Which, by the way, we'll cover a little bit of this later, but like in the middle of the summertime after a hurricane like Harvey down in Houston, and the power's cut off and there's no AC in the home and there's no good ventilation and it's humid and it's been raining and water got into the building, you know, mold's coming fast in that environment under those conditions. For that water to go from, you know, category 1 as it's raining to hitting the roof and maybe running into bird waste along the way, and then going through, you know, the roofing materials, and then going, you know, and along that way you may be going through some mold or contaminated decking or rusted flashing or nails on its way down through the attic, through maybe some rusted pipes maybe, or maybe it causes rusting a little bit over time, and then travels along through insulation, and then finally making its way to, and more nails, and finally making its way to the drywall, right? Where it sits for a while and permeates through to the side to where we're actually seeing the water spot. So like, we're probably already category 3 because of all the items that contaminated the water before it made it down here. Are we just going to patch that, by the way? We're not patching that. Okay, but we're probably to category 3, but under those conditions, you know, closed up property, no ventilation, humidity, it's probably already category 3. So we can't just go with remove and replace drywall. We can't do that. We have to first use the right category so that we're being paid properly, because you don't want your guys going in to remove that stuff, and gals, sorry, to remove that stuff if they're not properly protected with the personal protection equipment, masks, etc. We'll get into some of that stuff later on in the training course.